before we get into that, we got to get into the PS5 Pro talk. Because now, dudes, look, the reality is, if you bought a PS5 off rip, you own a PS5 right now. Mind you, I own 2 of them. So I'm speaking for myself as well when I say this. If you bought a PS5, you got fucking robbed. Because this is the actual next-gen system that they're talking about. That should have been off the bat. The PS5 Pro is the true next-gen system. The PS5, the OG PS5, and even the Series X and S, all of these were just the way, those were the systems to play remasters on. And that's why they're giving you a ton of remasters. Because guess what? That's the stuff that plays at the frame rates and at the resolutions that we want them to. Everything else, the new games, the not cross-gen games, run and look like dog shit. So, yes, I'm speaking even for myself. If you bought the OG PS5, you got robbed, and then a lot of people are going to be the sucker to go get the PS5 Pro. And the sad thing is, the true next-gen system, which is the PS5 Pro, won't outsell the OG PS5. So the actual true next-gen experience won't be experienced by the mass majority of, like, next-gen gamers. But let's get into the details, guys. Because PS5 Pro leak allegedly reveals PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution and up to 4 times the ray tracing performance of the regular old PS5. So they're saying 4 times the ray tracing performance. So 4 times nothing is what they're saying. Because ray tracing on the consoles is ass. That's literally what it is. It is garbage. That's wild. Holy shit. But they continue. They said, if this new leak is anything to go by, the PlayStation 5 Pro might have some new upscaling tricks up its sleeve. And that's what they need, tricks. Can't do it based off like actual real horsepower. They gotta pull tricks. Oh, I gotta zoom out. They said the original PS5 is getting on a bit these days. What the fuck is the PS5 sucks, not for nothing. It is trash in its current state. The games that come out for it, some of them are running at like 720p resolutions when you factor in, you know, the variable the variable resolution, you know, where the resolution can change. Some of it is terrible. Genuinely. First launched back in November 2020, the console gets a reasonably impressive spec sheet. And at the time, it did have a reasonable, like, spec sheet. I thought that the PS5 was actually going to be genuinely good. Like a real, true upgrade. And given the SSD is good, they needed to move on to that. The custom 8-core AMD Zen 2 CPU and the RDNA 2 GPU that brought it up to greater performance parity with gaming PCs of the time. Besides the fucking SSD, really though, I will say though, the 2000 series graphics cards were garbage. They were overpriced shit. The 1080 Ti, honestly, if I was really seriously into PC gaming at that time and had my own build, oh man, the 1080 Ti would have been the way to go, and just to wait for the 3000 series. But 2000 series kind of sucked. He said, while this latest leak for the upcoming PS5 Pro doesn't go into those sort of hardware specifics, although we have the summarized rumored hardware specifications previously, it does reveal some potential performance numbers and upscaling features that might give us more of a clue as to what Sony has been cooking. Yet, the latest information comes from YouTube channel Moore's Law is Dead. I know that they do have some insider information, especially when it comes to PC, upcoming PC releases of hardware. I don't know how good that they are, but I know that they end up in the news quite a bit for having some insider info. They said, which was traditionally been a bit hit and miss. Okay, hit and miss when it comes to the accuracy of leaked information. Still, in a recent video, channel reveals leaked documentation from within Sony that supposedly reveals the existence of the PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, PSSR, Sony's own in-house upscaling solution for the PS5 Pro. The upscaler is described as a machine learning enhanced vision of a temporal anti-aliasing upscaler to replace a game's existing temporal anti-aliasing and upsampling with similar inputs to DLSS or FSR. And I wonder, like, so here's the thing. Like, they're putting out this new hardware. My first question, I have two questions. How does it compare to DLSS 3? And how is it going to compare to DLSS in the next iteration of graphics cards? Because the 5000 series is near. It's near. So is this console going to age like milk? And does it even compare to the current iteration of DLSS? It probably, when it comes to FSR, I know FSR is a bit behind. I don't know if they've caught up seriously as of late. But maybe, you know, when it comes to AMD graphics cards and the AMD software, maybe they can catch up to that or get close to it. I doubt it, though. Highly doubt. And they said no pre-gaming training is said to be required. I don't know what the fuck that is. With a further document showing a side-by-side comparison of PSSR, TAAU, and FSR2, with PSSR said to look better than AMD's own upscaling solution. And that's a pretty big deal. That's a pretty big deal because, you know, that is FSR2, I believe, is the current iteration. I don't like FSR2. I'm good on all that. But it is good that they're looking to use these sort of antics because even PC uses them. And it's helpful. The problem is developers depend on it. And then when it's a part, here's my issue with current gaming. Now that it's being adapted by the consoles, now it's going to be the norm to use this upscaler. If it be DLSS, FSR, and now PlayStation's version of it. Now they're upscaling, you know, they're upscaling shitty resolutions to make it look good. Now it's going to be embraced as the norm. And that's my problem with all of this shit. So that sucks. And but like I said, because it's a part of the consoles, that's why it's going to be embraced. So now we're going to have games that come out that have terrible performance, and they're going to say, "Oh, because it's meant to be designed with, FSR and DLSS to be used." And it's like, that's not supposed to be the case. You know, it's not supposed to, but some of these developers absolutely depend on it. So the documentation also gives some expected comparative performance figures to the regular PS5, including the assertion that rendering is about 45% faster. That's good. And ray tracing speed is 2 to 3 times faster than the older model. My thing is, it's like, what ray tracing on the original PS5? What ray tracing? With up to 4 times improvement in some cases. Allegedly, the PS5 Pro's GPU has a 16-bit floating point calculation figure of 67 T-flops, which equates to an estimate of 33.5 T-flops of FP32 compute performance. So this is the original compute performance of the PS5. So they may be doubling it here, but if you're comparing it to the original compute performance of the PS5, then it's 32. So it's 33 T-flops. And to be honest, that doesn't necessarily mean shit. Said, given the other leaks have suggested the PS5 Pro may feature some elements of RDNA 4 in its GPU that would be quite the ray tracing performance increase, as RDNA 3 only marginally improved ray tracing figures over the previous generation. If these leaked performance figures are correct, that suggests a potentially substantial step up in ray tracing capability from RDNA 4's GPU in general, although only time will tell. And this, like, even with the PS5, on paper it sounded good. But then when you actually see it in person, you're playing it, it's like, okay, old games play better, which is positive, but new games, trash. Like, that's kind of just what it has been. On paper, it sounds nice, but that doesn't necessarily, in practice, it's going to show a substantial upgrade. And they're talking about ray tracing, like ray tracing has been a prominent thing on the current gen consoles. It hasn't really been a thing at all. And then my big issue is with this situation is if they implement ray tracing to be the norm on this Pro model, will frame rate options still be a thing? How will the game look visually from a resolution perspective? Because sometimes they will sacrifice the look of a game or the frame rate of the game to push ray tracing. Just because the lighting makes shit pretty, man. Like, and the issue is they do not give the player the choice on the console. This is why I prefer PC, because I have an immense amount of choice. I can make my own choices. If they don't give me enough choices on PC, I can go find extra choices, meaning, go to mods or whatever have you. Find applications that can help give me more choices. I'm open to that. Whereas on PC, whereas on console, for example, they don't really give you much choice. Normally you get either a resolution option or a frame rate option. Both pretty much suck. And that's what it is. Some games give you more option, like a Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, where they gave you like 4 different options, which is really nice. Having those 4 different options is really nice, but still, that's still a lot less option than on PC. If anything, they should just give console gamers all the options that PC gamers get. That would be nice, so that you can pick how you want to play your game. Obviously, there's still limitations. You're limited by power at the end of the day, but at least you can kind of customize the game to play at your own, at your own pace. I would go all for FPS. I would, if I was stuck on a PS5 Pro, I would definitely not bother with ray tracing. I couldn't give a shit about that. I would, basically lower everything to get performance up, because that's what I prefer more than pretty much anything else. But they said that would be quite the increase. The regular model, which manages a mere 10.29 T-flops of peak FP32 compute. See, so the original 10.29 T-flops is based off of the FP32 compute. And Xbox Series X's peak figure, 12.15 T-flops. And so that's a lot of flops. Okay, but how does it actually play out in practice? That's what we need to see. Anyway, while leaks of this type should be taken with an appropriate pinch of salt, given we're getting closer to the expected launch window for the Pro, it wouldn't be a surprise if leaks become more frequent. Hey man, I would love to see some leaked gameplay. The way these games are playing right now on the current model, disgusting. That's why I'm not hyped to get any of these games that are first off not designed to run at 60 FPS. If the game that's exclusive to PlayStation 5 is not originally designed to run at 60 FPS, I don't care. Like, that's why I'm willing to go there with Stellar Blade. I'll buy Stellar Blade because the game is initially designed to run at 60. That's what is, to me, that's what is important. That is what they wanted to hit in terms of performance. A lot of these other games are made to play at 30, and then they F with the settings to get it to run at 60 or close to 60, whatever. Hey, Luca, what's good, fam? Thank you, Luca. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I see you making videos again. I've been watching your videos, so shout out to you, Luca. Appreciate you being here. Clarence says, I'm not a PC player yet. It's going to be interesting to see how much of a jump this PS5 Pro is from the PS5 and the Xbox, but I think that that's all that this is gonna be at the end of the day. It's gonna be the true next gen console, and that's, you know, that's good for you guys over on the consoles. But yeah, a lot of shit talk is going on Twitter, like, oh man, this is gonna stomp out PC. Okay, brother, okay. But I think it's important to ask for more options if you're on the console, you know? Because some people, unfortunately, a lot of people think that, oh, if I'm going to get a PC, I have to spend $4 grand. And a lot of people won't settle for anything less. It's how they talk themselves out of going to PC gaming because they just don't want to deal with it. And that's fine. But if you're like, man, if I can't build, a top tier PC, then I don't want to go to PC gaming. If that's the case, and I get it, you know, you want to have the best of the best. I understand that.